You couldn't. I could not. I could not do it. Somebody caption this. It's the greatest thing to come out of the inauguration. Getting rid of the other guy. This is what the 2020 inauguration is going to. This is what's going to remind. This is what we're going to remember. It's the greatest thing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. I am MrWarrenHayes, sitting in for Bernie Sanders tonight. I am here tonight to talk about professional wrestling with a lot of y'all. How's everybody doing on this Thursday night? Because, yeah, we record live right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. This is where it goes down. We congregate and we chit-chat for the week.
Oh, yeah.
We chit-chat about the week of wrestling all together in a fantastic group of people who join us pretty much every week. And there's some new faces, old faces, faces that are warm to our hearts. There's all sorts of, look, let me tell you who's here. You'll understand. Tim Traver is here. Good to see you, Tim. Welcome to the show. Kelly Tonhes is here as well. Good to see you, Kelly. I was going to call you Timmy. That's not a good thing. Welcome to the show, Kelly. Mr. Fratz is here as well. Nice to see you. Robert Larry as well. Nice to see you as well, Robert. We've got... we've got Dan Heyman, who is up late tonight over in merry old England. Good to see you, Dan. Welcome to the chat as well.
Ooh, yeah.
Who else have we got? We got Justin Firestein, who's here. Nice to see you. Ben, hello. Welcome as well, Ben. We got Aaron Entertainment here as well. Wrestling Plug Inc., also known as Pluggo. Good to see you. We got Burt Macklin, Manny Santos, my man on the inside of WWE. Good to see you. Evan Wright is with us as well. J.K. Schwal, Jason PS3, by God, Anakin, Jesus Christ. Look at all these fine folks. And if you like to talk about wrestling and you just want to exchange with other people, because maybe Ted at the office, you sort of want to strike up a conversation with him, and you've never really talked to Ted, and then you meet him at the water cooler, at the coffee machine, or at the disinfecting wipes station, and you go up to Ted and you say, "Hey Ted, you like pro wrestling?" And Ted says, "No, I am into eggplant cultivation." And you soon realize you have nothing in common with Ted. So avoid the Teds. Come to the MrWarrenHayes Show live, if you can, every Thursday night at 9 p.m. And you'll chat with very like-minded people. It's a good time. Please, if you can, come and join us. And if you're watching live right now, do consider giving the video a thumbs up. That's really appreciated. And if you're listening on your own accord, same thing here on YouTube. Likes, thumbs ups, that kind of stuff is fantastic. Same thing if you're listening on your favorite podcast application as well. Any kind of love that you can show there as well, especially a review if you're on the iTunes side of things. That's really cool. If you're on Spotify, a follow. That's really cool too. Great ways to show some support for the MrWarrenHayes Show. And we can also continue the conversation on the MrWarrenHayes Discord. You can join. Link is in the description, and you have equally fantastic people. Equally fantastic people who hang out over there. It's cool. So join. And you've never used Discord before? Don't worry. We've got some friendly moderators who will help you out. Don't worry about it. It's all good. And I hang out there too. So we can all chat together. It's a good time. There's also a Patreon for the MrWarrenHayes Show, patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. And after after every stream, I do a post stream for patrons only, where we sit around and we discuss, we talk topics, chat, live phone call-ins with the patrons. And tonight, since we're on the heels of the announcement of a brand new cinematic match, or at least not an announcement, we're assuming. Hold your horses there, Warren. It hasn't been announced as a cinematic match, but we're assuming it's going to be a cinematic match for AEW Revolution, Darby Allin and Sting versus Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. Since we're doing that, since we're talking about cinematic matches with, old-timer, retired, semi-retired wrestlers, I'm posing the questions onto the patrons tonight. Which retired wrestler, or as I like to say, over the hill, would you like to see in a cinematic match? So if you come join the MrWarrenHayes Discord, jump right in, and you can jump right into the discussion as well. It's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. And you can also join the MrWarrenHayes Show channel right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. And if you join, you get access to a whole bunch of extra emojis. That's really cool. Or you can also join the Mr. Warren. You can also send us a super chat, and we will read your question or comment live on the air so that everyone can know who you are. Such as Evan Wright, who left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Evan. Who says, I'm here to mourn the death of Jon Moxley's career. I can't believe I have to bury another superstar's career. Again this week, 2 in a row. Last week, Kenny Omega I had to bury his career. I mean, you know, he destroyed it on his own. Look, same thing with Jon Moxley this week. They dug the hole. They put themselves in the coffin. They put the coffin into the hole. I'm just throwing the dirt on top. We'll be talking about Jon Moxley in a little while and the so-called death of his career. But thank you very much, Evan, for the super chat. And Anakin JMT left us a super chat as well. Thank you very much, Evan. He says, rest in peace, my mom's ground beef. Here's the thing. If you join the MrWarrenHayes Discord, you can discover little nuggets of information about the people who hang out there. Such as, for example, Anakin JMT. Perhaps you guys remember the insane rant I went on some time ago in regards to a lady who was rinsing her ground beef after cooking it, like literally putting it in a strainer and rinsing it under some running tap water. And I thought that, well, it turns out Anakin shared this with us in complete confidence that his mother does that. And I'm going to express the same thing as I did I'm sorry for your loss, Anakin. I'm very sorry for the loss of your mother's ability to cook. It just blows my mind. It blows my mind why she would do that. Everyone, seriously, press F in the chat for Anakin's to pay respects to Anakin's mom's ground beef. It should be treated. It should be treated with. I don't know why that sounds so funny to me. Excuse me. This is weekly wrestling inspection. Okay, I'm all right. All right. We're all good. Okay. All right, I'm into it. I'm feeling groovy. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, or at least there's a lot of stuff I'd like to talk about tonight. You know how my show goes sometimes. I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to getting the content done on the show. I want to revisit Impact Hard to Kill before we move on, which was the Impact's big pay-per-view this weekend, the one that had the big headline with Kenny Omega in the main event. Let's just run through this very quickly. Rosemary and Crazy Steve back as a tag team. Decay defeated Tenille Dashwood and Caleb with a K, Caleb Conley, in an intergender tag team match. It was fine. It was entertaining. Good. It was good. Nothing exceptional. Definitely nothing terrible. But yeah, that was a match that happened. Then Violent by Design, which is Eric Young, Cody Deaner, and Joe Doring defeated Cousin Jake, Rhino, and Tommy Dreamer in an old school 6-man tag team match. Again, absolutely fine. You know, I think it's really interesting to see Diener in not Donor Doring, excuse me, in Impact in North American soil. It's cool, and I think he brings something really interesting to Impact, and I think he's gonna break out pretty soon from all this stuff. Just has to move away from the old timers and all this nonsense. But I think they have a good prospect on their hands here. Fire and Flava, which is Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, defeated Jessica Havoc and Nevaeh to become the first, or the new Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champions, the first since the belts have been revived. They got through the entire tournament. I think it's a good step to put it on these two ladies. They're fantastic wrestlers. I think they're a super credible tag team. Havoc and Jessica Havoc, Nevaeh are great as well. You can even extend this feud if you want to. I think this was a good move. It was I think the right women won. And I was watching, as I was watching this, and I tweeted it out, Jessica Havoc, man, I tweeted something out, but I'm gonna give it another twist here. Jessica Havoc is what WWE thinks Nia Jax is. That's what she comes, because she's extremely talented. Like she's a big lady. She's strong, but she can actually move, and she has moves. She's nimble at everything that WWE would like to think Nia Jax is. That's what Jessica Havoc is. This was a really good match. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, right woman won. We had the surprise debut of Matt Cardona defeating Ace Austin by DQ in a singles match. Matt Cardona apparently, well, there you go, showing up on Impact, apparently hasn't reached a deal exactly with them right now, so I don't know if you actually call him signed or if he's just doing a couple of dates. You sort of have to go when it comes to Mainick and not Mainick, excuse me, when it comes to Matt Cardona losing, like winning by DQ on his on showing up. It's a very WWE-ish thing to do, to have a surprise entrant arrive. What a shock, and he arrives and then he loses, or he doesn't get a good strong win over the guy he's against. I understand they want to protect Ace Austin because Ace Austin is the number one contender for the X title. I get they want to protect him, so then don't put him in a program with Ace Austin straight off the bat. But that's just me. Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Evan. He says, Hogan and Steelz versus Ivelisse and Diamante hold me down. Oh God, yes. And Kiera Hogan and Diamante are a thing. Actually, they're a couple. So they'd probably have, and I don't want to sound stupid by saying this, but I mean they probably have great chemistry. They most definitely have great chemistry. It'd be super entertaining, I'm sure. Mainick, who is not TJP, defeated Chris Bay and Rohit Raju in a triple threat for the Impact X Division title. Chris Bay is a superstar. This is my takeaway from watching a Chris Bay match. Every Chris Bay match I watch, I say Chris Bay is a superstar. I don't know, there's someone somewhere that is going to make that guy a star, but I don't know who at this point. He needs to get on a strong national platform on a show that will respect his abilities and push him, because that guy is amazing. And TJP won. So enough said. Deonna Purrazzo defeated Taya Valkyrie to retain the Impact Knockouts Championship. This was very, very good. It was a very, very, very good match. One of the best matches on the card. Deonna, man, she is so good at pro wrestling. She's ridiculously good at it. I love watching wrestlers that give me goosebumps when they're performing moves and they're sliding in and out, transitioning, and God, I love it. I love it so much. And Taya put up a valiant fight, but she lost. And when we were watching it and I was tweeting it out, Taya, man, she really did. She gave it her all. There was an interview that was posted on the Impact social media earlier in the day where she was talking about her upcoming match, and the interviewer at the end was going, well, thank you very much for your contributions to the business, Taya, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, is she leaving? So throughout the match, I was like, man, if she doesn't win, I'm sure she's done. She doesn't win, and not only that, commentary. By the way, Matt Stryker and D'Lo Brown, I think as a first outing, a little ungrateful to put them at their first outing on a pay-per-view, but I think it works. I liked it. I enjoyed commentary. I think it was good. But as far as Taya goes, the commentary was also going, such great contributions to Impact and women's wrestling in general. I'm like, okay, she's leaving. And then earlier this week, it's heavily rumored. It's not been confirmed, but Taya's on her way out. They did an angle with her. At the end of Impact this week with Rosemary. She's getting tossed out of the building. Like, there hasn't been an official goodbye, but if it look, as Homer Simpson once told us, if it looks like ketchup and it tastes like ketchup, brother, it's ketchup. But I love this match, and you know what? If whatever Taya decides to do, I'm sure she's going to be happy. That's the important part. Of course, there's a speculation going on where everyone thinks she's going to end up. Personally, I think she's a perfect fit for WWE. I really do. John Morrison aside, I think she's a perfect fit for WWE. I think she has a look that will set her apart. She has the perfect type of skill set for them. She's seasoned. She's good on the mic. She's got great charisma. I think she fits right in. You toss that girl right up, put her in the Royal Rumble. That's what I'd do. No question. No questions bad. No questions asked. So there you go. The Karate Man defeated Ethan Page via murder. Yeah. And look, I was watching this. I was watching the thing, and it was very short, and I looked at it and was like, this is fun. I enjoyed it. It wasn't too long. It didn't overstay its welcome. It was nice. It was punchy, ridiculous enough. Then we just then it was done. And the cheesy the cheesy green screen effects and the campy Mortal Kombat stuff, I liked it. But then it turns out Ethan Page goes on social media and he's pissed off at Impact, and they didn't do what I wanted. I didn't even get to see how it was being produced, and I'm pissed off, and I'm like, he's working. But no, he's not. He's legitimately angry, even going as far as to say that he didn't even want to put Karate Man in Impact. They decided they insisted to do it. They gave him a choice. Either we put Karate Man in or we split up the North violently. And he didn't want to split up the North. He just wanted to be, I want to keep my options open with Jason if anything were to happen. Just be able to slide back in as a tag team, and I can understand that. So it turns out that this was not at all his vision. This is not what he wanted. Which is weird because I feel like it was very, very close to the campiness of what Ethan Page usually does with Karate Man. Or it's weird. Like I don't know what ticked him off, what made him angry, because I thought it was perfect. It was stupid. It was campy, it was funny, and just short enough. Or long enough. Just long enough to not overstay its welcome. I thought it was fine. But then again, that's the kind of thing. I wasn't there. Eddie Edwards defeated Sami Callihan in a barbed wire massacre match, and I have to ask who cared about this match, because it was long. It was long, and man, Sami Callihan has fallen big time. Like, they have nothing for the guy. It feels like they're scrambling for him. Mr. Fretz left a super chat. Thank you very much, Mr. Fretz. He says, barbed wire N64 controller. Insert no mercy joke here. Well, I thought Sami Callihan, when he had the barbed wire N64 controller, I thought he had a perfect opportunity to go over to Eddie Edwards and say, Edwards, either you get in or you get out. I thought it missed opportunity. Completely missed. I don't know. It didn't do anything for me. Sammy and Eddie Edwards are, to me, they're treading water. But I don't know have they hit their ceiling? I think, makes you realize just how, it makes you realize how good Callihan was when he transitioned to being this bastard son of a bitch heel after cracking the baseball bat over Eddie Edwards' head, unfortunately, and sustained that heat and got into the stuff with Tessa Blanchard, and they had great chemistry, but he hasn't been able to maintain it. I don't know. And this match, I thought it plotted. I really feel like it brought the energy down, which was probably a good thing, because then for the main event, Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Rich Swann, Chris Sabin, and Moose. I thought it served it a great deal, because I was starved for some fun at that point. I was starved for something good, and it was a great main event. Don't know what to tell you. It was really, really good. I don't know why Moose was included. I don't know why Moose was included. I don't like Moose. I really don't. I think I don't think he's as fantastic as everyone seems to think he is. Sure, he did a top rope Spanish fly and a couple of stuff, but I don't think he's that amazing. I think he's one of these wrestlers who will work whenever he feels like it. I think he's a guy who's in it for himself. Plus, he's got a very shitty background. So that's not to say that he didn't bring it, and he had to, because everyone was watching this fucking match. So of course he's gonna turn it up. And that's what we got. And the match itself was fantastic. It's strange booking decision, in my opinion. Strange booking decision, in my opinion, to have Rich Swann get pinned by Omega in a 6-man tag. I thought this was something that they were going to avoid. If this leads into something else with Rich Swann down the road, I'm completely okay with this, but it's kind of strange. It's a strange booking decision from the Impact point of view, but it's still good times. I thought this was I thought it was a really strong main event, good times, and a pretty good show overall. If you haven't watched it yet, or you're on the fence or whatever, you won't be bored with Hard to Kill. You really won't. It's a good time. Let's go over a couple of super chats here. Evan Wright left us another super chat. Thank you very much. He says, main event was incredible. Give me Omega versus Moose. Yeah, the main event, as I said, was incredible. Give me Omega and not Moose. I don't like the guy. I just don't. Impact is trying to rekindle magic with him. he should have been a bigger deal back then. But I can't get behind him. I can't get behind him. It's a shame. DJMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much. She says Cardona with a Toyman DC Comics Toyman gimmick. Your thoughts? Why not? And he has the chops to understand the lore of the character. He could pull it off. I'd be absolutely okay with that. That'd be wild, actually. Combine it with a Repo Man, where he goes to WWE headquarters and goes and steals all the paraphernalia that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are going to be collecting on their new reality show on AE. Want to say hello to Kristen Ashley, who just joined us in the chat. Good to see you, Kristen, and welcome. All right, let's start handing out some labels here. Let's go with some cool beans. Hey, okay, so everyone in WWE has a talk show, or it sure feels that way, right? But giving Bayley a talk show, I think that's probably the best move that you could do. I think she's perfect for it, and the way she came out, the dress, how she was dressed, I should say, she wasn't wearing a dress, but how she was dressed, like just completely leaning in to the Karen stuff. The glasses just put it over, and she has the attitude, the sass, just to make it work. She has Bianca come on as her first guest, and the banter is good, and I'm not surprised. I told you guys, and I'm not saying this like it's some big revelation. I think anyone with half a brain could have figured this one out. But Bianca and Bayley together, as you know, just bantering and bouncing shit off of each other, fantastic. Like, you couldn't come up with a better combination, and they already have some finesse to them. There's some chemistry there. I like the segment a lot. I thought it's a strong decision to have Bayley have her talk show, just as much as it's a strong decision to showcase her with Bianca. But an obstacle course. Have we not learned from Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley? This shit does not work. It doesn't work. And it's the same thing every time when I hear that wrestlers want to compete doing this. They want to arm wrestle. They want to play putt-putt golf. They want to go go-karting. It's that this is not why we watch wrestling, first and foremost. But why would you need to compete to show that you're the strongest, fastest, whatever, in an obstacle course when you already have a weekly athletic competition of which you are a professional in? Yeah, that week after week, that's where you show us that you're the strongest, the fastest, the cutest, the hottest, like whatever. I don't need, nor do I want an obstacle course. I don't want Bianca doing that. It's pointless. Just as it was the vignettes of her running fast and answering trivia questions. It doesn't matter. And it's exactly like when JR starts telling us, he's a former linebacker in college football for the Oklahoma Stampede. I don't know what the teams are. But and I'm like, cool, okay, so he's an athlete, but can he wrestle? Whatever their athletic background is, it doesn't matter. I want to see them perform. And that's where I'm going to make up their mind. That's where I'm going to make up my mind. My God. It breaks me to see that they're doing this with Bianca when all they have to do to get Bianca Belair over is give her a mic and let her wrestle. Let her talk. Let her beat up some fools. it's just it is such a basic thing. I don't get it. Anyway, but the segment itself was still cool beans. Let's keep the cool beans going for SmackDown. Cesaro versus Daniel Bryan ruled. Just as simple as that. Give these guys 20 minutes all the time. Give them all the time in the world every week. Maybe not every week, but again, WWE has too deep of a talent pool to not be able to give these matches like this on a constant basis for 2 or 3 hours at a time. There's no reason. They just hold back themselves. But look, you get Daniel Bryan and Cesaro some time to shine, and you say, yeah, and then Daniel Bryan says, "I'm gonna make you look good, Cesaro." Cesaro says, "Cool, I'm gonna German uppercut the shit out of you." And Daniel Bryan's like, "Cool." Cesaro's like, "Cool." And then that's what they do. It's fantastic. This is the great thing that happened on Friday. Top rope Hurricanrana attempt by Daniel Bryan. Cesaro fucking blocks it, hoists Bryan back up, hits a fucking twisting superplex. And then Bryan mounts a comeback. He goes for some kicks, but he can't. He collapses after doing his kicks because Cesaro's been working the knee throughout the entire match. So he's like, because Daniel Bryan, right? He's the pro's pro. He's like, my leg, Cesaro hits the Swiss death and the neutralizer by fucking God. And Cesaro wins the match. And in expert fashion, a great match. A great TV match. And as much as those matches are like, God damn, this was good, you flip around and you're like, my God, this is frustrating. Because WWE instead wants you to focus on other stuff. They give more time to garbage, to stuff that doesn't lead anywhere, or that's just so heavy-handed that you don't get into what's going on. But look, again, you get talented wrestlers doing wrestling things, and then it's magic. DGMC left us. Oh, first and foremost, hello to... Wait, I just saw someone new pop in. Did I miss it? No. Ah, there we go. Good fella 1422. Good to see you. I thought I saw that. Welcome to the chat. Now, DGMC super chat. Thank you very much again, DGMC. Says Bryan versus Cesaro in a game of Scrabble thoughts. I don't care. Well, they can look, unless they're playing at home. Let's say they settle themselves, and like Bryan has Cesaro over at his place, and they're like, Birdie and the other kid, what's the Buddy? Birdie and Buddy are in bed, and Brie Bella. Brie Bella is named after cheese, by the way. Bree's like, okay, I'll let you boys do whatever you want to do, and they start playing Scrabble together, kind of thing, over some smoothies. I personally would give the advantage to Cesaro, and I think it's a tough one here because both guys are very, very smart. Both of them are very, very smart, but Cesaro speaks a couple of languages, and it's speaking multiple languages gives you an advantage when you play Scrabble, because then you can think outside of the limitations of the principal language you're playing in, and sort of think of words that were borrowed from another language, and I could fit this in here. And sometimes you're like, this is an accepted word in English. I did not know that. So slight advantage to Cesaro in here. Oh, okay. So let's release the cool beans. Let's get some hot trash going. So Adam Pearce is out of the Royal Rumble match. We got swerved with a contract signing on Friday. He was supposed to sit down, sign the contract, with Roman Reigns for the Universal title match at Royal Rumble. But Adam Pearce, he signs the contract and he swerves us all. And he's sort of like, I can't, I am not cleared. I am not cleared. Oh, my foot. I have an ankle injury. Card subject to change. Instead, here is Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is now the replacement. Now, technically speaking, though, technically speaking, does that mean that Kevin Owens has to sign a contract? Does this start? Do we start the process over again? Right? Not that I want to. But look, I want to tell you guys, and if anyone from WWE is listening to this, if anyone is listening to this, William Davis, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. If anyone is listening to this from WWE Creative, I want to tell you what the difference is between a twist and a red herring. Okay? A red herring is misdirection, right? You usually see this in mysteries, where it's a clue. You think it's a clue, but it's not a clue. It just takes you in another direction, only to bring you back to the main plot. And red herrings, unless they're expertly used, are usually considered a waste of time. Usually. Depends on how long of a herring it is. So there's no payoff to a red herring. A twist has a payoff. And a twist comes from drama, from getting invested into something. But the red herring essentially swerves us into a direction only to bring us back to where we started. Because this is exactly where we were 2-3 weeks ago, with Roman Reigns still champion and Kevin Owens being the challenger. Despite the fact that Kevin Owens got knocked the fuck out, despite the fact that we got invested in a gauntlet match where a man who wasn't even entered in it won, and then we come back over here thinking that this is the match we're heading towards, but no, it's Kevin Owens. A twist would have been extending this Adam Pearce thing until Royal Rumble and then having Kevin Owens show up out of nowhere to save Adam Pearce. That's a twist, because then you have a couple of more weeks to get us interested, make us feel for Adam Pearce, get us on Adam Pearce's side, make us feel how hopeless the situation is, only to have Kevin Owens return as a hero. That is a dramatic twist. Now, we're just back to where we were. We've backtracked. It's essentially that. And not only have we backtracked, but we've completely annulled the gauntlet match. You've taken time away from us, again, without giving us a reward. We're not rewarded for having watched the gauntlet match, got excited about it, got excited about Shinsuke Nakamura, and then suddenly try to get invested into the Adam Pearce thing for a full week, and which ended here with nothing, just a return to norm. That's not dramatic writing, and that's not what a twist is. It's not even what a swerve is. It's not even surprising. It's frustrating, because you did ask us to get invested into the gauntlet match, but essentially everything that happened last week didn't serve a thing. We're exactly back to where we started. So that is poor creative writing, and it's not dramatic writing. We're just like back at the end. And if there's one thing that's consistent here, folks, is that WWE doesn't take the time to reward you for watching. And the day that happens, I'll get excited. I got excited for the Firefly Funhouse match because I feel like that was a thank you. I really feel like that was a thank you to the fans. but you don't get thank yous very often. You get more like, hey, you just suck it in, wrestling fan, sports entertainment enjoyer. Wish they'd call him that. Oh, and by the way, Adam Pearce on Twitter cleared it up about Royal Rumble entrances. Have you guys seen this? Have you heard about this? He cleared it up. Because I was coming in this week to talk about why Drew Gulak and Ricochet have to fight for a spot in the Royal Rumble when most everyone else can say, I declare I am in the Royal Rumble. Don't quite ask me what that accent was. But this is what he said. The tweet, quote, oh, by the way, it's actually pretty simple. Those that have been granted the ability to simply declare entry into the Royal Rumble by management are free to do so. Those that haven't must qualify. I don't write the rules, I enforce them. Okay. So this is supposed to make it clear. Oh, well, if management says you can declare, you're cool. If management says that you can't declare, you have to earn your spot. It still doesn't clarify it. Other than, oh, Ricochet hasn't been given the okay by management. Why? To me, it still doesn't, it's still too vague. It's just like, eep boop whip. Sorry, boys. Can't, I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. It's not clear. It doesn't clarify it. It's like, what have you done for management that will allow you to declare? Do we have a list of Royal Rumble entrants? Hang on. Royal Rumble 2021. Let me see if the Wikipedia page is holding a list of entrants. We do. Okay. Daniel Bryan, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Otis. Management went up to Otis and said, "You're okay, buddy. You can do it. It's fine." The Miz, Jey Uso, Cesaro, Jeff Hardy. Then on the women's side, you have Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Bianca, Bayley, Mandy Rose. How the hell does Dana Brooke get the okay from management? What has Dana Brooke done where management has confidence in her and is like, yeah, then you can go right ahead? Oh yeah! It's wild to me. Shayna Baszler, Alexa Bliss, sure, Peyton Royce. I mean, even Peyton Royce, I go like, really? You know? But no, Ricochet, Otis can declare, but fucking Ricochet has to fight for it. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Injection 2K, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. And Conrad, Everything Pro Wrestling, good to see you as well. Jason PS, I was reading quickly your chat and it was like, I thought you said that tweet did more ham than good. I was like, wait, are we going on a ham rant again tonight? Anakin JMT left us a super chat. Thank you very much. It says, ask not. Oh, this is quote. Ask not what WWE management can do for you. Have I ever tried to do a JFK? Yeah, hang on. Okay, let's see if I can do a John F. Kennedy impression. Ask not what WWE management can do for you. Ask what you can do for WWE management. We're not quite there yet. I'll keep working on it. Or I could read it as, my Eastern European guy. Ask not what WWE management can do for you. Ask what you can do for WWE management. There you go. I put the fail in John F. Kennedy. All right, let's move on. I don't want to talk about Monday Night Raw. I don't. I think you go. I think WWE Raw is I think it's dull. I think it's dull and I think it's pointless these days. I don't think there's anything of value that comes out of it. It's too uneventful and it's rough to watch. I can't even get bothered by the Lacey and Ric Flair stuff. The day that Raw doesn't start with a fucking 8-minute monologue of exposition, like I can appreciate WWE doing the spooky thing with Randy Orton and have him wear Mr. Wrestling 2's mask and then like cover his burnt face and then be like, I got burned, I'm coming to get you. But we don't need 8 goddamn minutes of exposition for it. And this is where WWE loses me. Because for all the production value that they have no idea. And putting on a wrestling match, which requires an understanding of pacing and rhythm, they cannot put together or edit a coherent show that doesn't drag. And wrestling is all about pacing. It's all about hitting the right notes. It's all about getting everything falling into the right place. And we get 8 minutes of Randy Orton in the dark with first-degree burns. Hey, okay, no disrespect to anyone who's ever suffered first-degree burns. They hurt as hell. But you don't turn into the Phantom of the Opera out of first-degree burns. I'm sorry. That's not the kind of thing that breaks your psyche. Eight minutes! And if that was the only long promo of the evening, we'd probably forgive it. But then there's more. And more. And they keep talking and doing all this exposition. And I'm like, I can't take it. I'm sure I would have probably found the Miz and Morrison Gilbert segment a lot more entertaining if it hadn't been for the fact that it was dragging so much that my energy level was already down. Because out of the gate, Randy Orton pulls me down. Dynamite every week. Aside maybe from this week, but that's a whole other story. There was something there, but every week they start the show with a fucking fire match. Week in, week out. Because you tune in to watch wrestling. And how are you going to keep people to watch wrestling? By giving them a great match straight off the bat. If I'm turning the channels and I see this guy ramble on for 4 minutes in the same position, the same thing, look at these matches. I'm like, I'm going elsewhere. God damn. And then the Alexa Bliss stuff at the end. Cody Fosterling, welcome to the chat. The stuff at the end with Alexa, to me, I thought it was comical. I can't take it seriously. The lights go off, they come back on, and instead of being in pigtails and having a pink t-shirt and red lipstick, suddenly Alexa has buns. She has her hair up in buns, a black t-shirt, and black lipstick, and then suddenly she's invincible because the lights went. And then you have Asuka. Fuck, I hate babyface Asuka. I hate babyface Asuka so much. But then no one in WWE can do a proper babyface anymore. They're all the same. There's no one is interesting when you're a babyface in WWE. You're just not. So she's like, oh, I'm so scared. The lights went out. And this is Asuka, weird ass, dripping goo, misspewing Asuka, who's like, oh, the lights went off and now they're back on. And then Alexa Bliss blocks all her offense. And then Alexa Bliss suddenly she's like Girl Fiend at this point. Now she's like the Fiend and she's invincible. If they want to do that with Alexa, which is fine, it's their prerogative. They can do what they want, right? At least give Alexa a Girl Fiend mask. Like, commit to it. We have Bray Wyatt, who, when he puts on his Fiend mask, he's this invincible monster. If you want us to get that with Alexa, just have her put on a mask. Design a Girl Fiend mask for her and have her wear it. And it'd come across a little less goofy than just, oh, she has black lipstick on. Oh, look, she just came back from Hot Topic and she's pissed because they don't have any more OG Bullet Club t-shirts anymore. So she's beating everyone up. That's what it comes across as. And I don't buy that Asuka is stymied by this. Not by this. Like I said, if they want Asuka to be afraid and worried and anxious about, then go strong on the Jekyll and Hyde shit instead of just like, whoop, makeup change, wardrobe. Anakin left us a super chat. Thank you very much. It says, Alexa herself was great. Scared Asuka not so much. Look, Alexa is leaning into the stuff and she's doing wonderfully with the shit that she's being given. And again, I want to make really, really sure that I underscore this. Most of the time when I talk about this stuff, when I talk about things here, unless I'm specifically shitting on someone like Goldberg, it's rarely on the talent. Like I can't blame Alexa for the shitty angle. She's out there performing and doing her best. And you know what? She's doing the best with what she has. I'll give her that. And she's good at it. I can't, but the angle, the setup, none of it makes sense. None of it works. And it's a little too goofy. I feel like it would work better if she really had like a Hyde personality, if she had a Girl Fiend or someone on Twitter had given it a really good name and I can't remember. Blister. Something like that. And I'm like, yeah, just like play with it. Have a little fun with it. Make her look like a monster. And then someone else on Twitter, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I can't remember. If you're watching, I apologize. But y'all brought up some really good points. Someone was saying, well, probably in the back, they consider Alexa to be too attractive to put a mask on. And okay, maybe, but the point is that she becomes a monster, right? Why not just turn her into a monster? I don't know. Blech. I thought it was a shitty angle. Didn't I say I didn't want to talk about Raw? Welcome to the MrWarrenHayes show, folks. Warren can't even control himself. Let's talk about AEW for a bit. Bit of an off night for our boys at AEW, but not a bad show. Just an off night, and I kind of felt it. If you joined me on the pre-stream, on the pre-show. By the way, I do pre-shows in case you didn't know. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 7:30 p.m. Preview the upcoming show. We all sit around, we chat, we get hype for it. So I was talking about Dynamite's show last night on the pre-show stream. I said, and I was looking at it, and I was like, it feels odd. Because usually they've got these great matches set up. They have these big time matches, and there's a lot of them. Last night, their big attractions were like Kenny Omega is going to talk. Jon Moxley in action, which meant like he's getting a squash. -1's birthday. And then the matches were very, very low key. And I was like, it feels a little weird. It just felt a little off. And ultimately that's what we got. We got an off night for Dynamite, but an off night for Dynamite still is better than an okay night for other people. I don't know. It was fine. Just, not the Dynamite that gets me excited. But let's talk about a few things. First of all, I think it's wonderful. The -1 stuff, the birthday celebrations. -1 should be giving promo class to some of those wrestlers who are there. He was hilarious. My birthday was 3 days ago, you idiot. So good. I did the cake thing and everything. It was, cute. It was fine. It didn't bother me. Why would it bother anyone? Why would it bother you as a human being where you're seeing grown fucking men who muscular dudes, jocks, do something to put a little kid over who just had one of the most fucking tragic things that could happen in a child's life. Just give him some shine, something to forget the fucking crap that happened to him. Why would you poo-poo that? And I thought it was fun. Like I said, it didn't start with a match, with one of these hot matches, but it started off with a fun angle. I thought it was I thought that was really cool. So the DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much. It says Eddie Kingston as -1's sassy teaching assistant. See, wouldn't that be? And Kingston would probably get a fucking kick out of it too. I think it's good stuff. It's the point is that it was good, and I think it's still good that they're taking care of the kid the way they are. Good. He's a member of the AEW family. All these guys are going to remember it. And I can't wait when he grows up, becomes a wrestler, turns heel, and starts shitting on everyone that was nice to him when he was a kid. Won't that be fantastic? You have like 60-year-old John Silver. I don't know what I'm saying. John Silver being like, dude, we took care of you like you were one of our own, and then just cracks him over the head with a kendo stick. Fuck you, John Silver. Anyway, this all led into Hangman Adam Page shooting down the Dark Order, who were making a big play to have him join them, and he was like, "Sorry guys, I can't." But the great thing here was that the Dark Order was so convinced that he was going to say yes that when they asked the question, waited for the answer, and he said, "I can't." And then confetti music, the LED boards he said yes on it, and everyone, a kick line came out and everyone was celebrating, but then it's like, no, he said no, and brought everything down. And Adam Page was like, look, the last group I was in, man, didn't turn out well, so I'm sorry, you guys are cool, but I'm gonna have to pass. And he goes away. Now, does this, I liked it. Thought it was funny. Thought it was well done. Good comedic timing on everyone. I enjoyed it. Now, my question is, what happens? What happens here, kind of thing? Do we get to a point where the Dark Order now become bitter, and do they become proper heels? Or is this is curious. I'd love to see some full audience reactions, full crowd reactions for this, because it would probably be very telling. Are the Dark Order over enough as faces to be like, Adam Page, you're a son of a bitch? And then people turn on Page, but I don't think so. I think Adam Page is still the better babyface to an extent. So I think he kind of, I think he still maintains the babyface allure, while the Dark Order maybe becomes a little darker. Maybe they get a little nastier. Maybe. I'm interested to see how the dynamics are going to move forward here. because you can't tone down John Silver. That's, and the whole dynamic that they have on BTE with Anna Jay and Stu, and even Evil Uno is, he's not evil and threatening. He's part of the goofiness as well. They all are. I mean, if you ask me, you don't turn Adam Page. Like recently, I rewatched Page and Omega versus the Bucks at Revolution last year, and Adam Page is so incredibly over. So incredibly over. Like, this guy alone got the audience to turn on the Young Bucks during that match. I still think the Young Bucks should be heels, by the way. But I also hope that Adam Page, I think we're getting to a point, and hopefully the feud with the Dark Order will be a turning point for this. I'm kind of done with sad mopey Adam Page. Let's move on. Your girlfriend from 20 years didn't break up with you. You just left the Elite because they were assholes in the first place. They were all jerks to you. Don't go back to Kenny right now. Kenny's an asshole. Like, it's time. I think it's time to move on. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much. He says, "Lonely yeehaw man friend zoned the Dark Order." That's you should write articles. You should have a blog and with titles like that. That'd be fantastic. Lonely yeehaw man friend zoned the Dark Order, and then try to explain that to your friends. So let's warm soda here. The Sting and Darby Allin stuff. So the thing was that Sting was going to come out to congratulate Darby Allin on retaining the TNT title from that fantastic match that they had last week, that he had, Darby Allin and against Brian Cage. And so that happens, and then, Taz, who's constantly, again, with the chip on his shoulder, starts bitching, and then he says, "You guys want, you wouldn't want to see us in a street fight. I'll leave it into your hands." And then Darby Allin says, "Oh, he's super evasive. He's like, 'Oh yeah, well, we'll see what's going to happen,' or something like that." And I just sat there and I was like, what happened? What happened? What did we do here? Because we didn't learn anything. Nothing. There wasn't a story beat. There was nothing here. And today it was announced that we're getting a match, a street fight at Revolution. I mentioned it earlier. Darby and Sting versus Cage and Ricky Starks. And so we know this, but Sting is here and is coming out with the snow. We're good now, right? Something has to happen, because it's been mostly that Sting coming out, going into a ring, and then just staring at people and leaving. So he comes out, "Hey, Darby Allin, cool." Taz comes out with a semi-challenge, which is not really, they didn't really accept it, and I'm left wondering what came out of this. What was what progressed here? Because even if it was Darby Allin saying, "Yeah, we'll fight you in the street," accepting the challenge, I'm like, oh shit, now we have something. But everything went, and I'm kind of fearful that they're doing that with Sting, because now we have 4 weeks to lead into Revolution. I know there's a bit of confusion on the date, but I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of Sting standing around moving forward. Sting needs to get beat the fuck up. That's what needs to happen at this point. We need to get emotionally invested into this. There's got to be, now we need an event that will make us go, oh, Taz and they need to get the shit beat out of them. We need the reason for the baby faces to get excited about this. Because right now it's kind of like, well, it feels like things are happening and people are just going with the flow. And I kind of feel like it's the same thing I feel with Cody and all his angles. You know, the angle with Shaq. You know, and Jade at the same time, Jade Cargill, it's the same thing. Jade Cargill comes out and she slaps people, she talks at people, and then she goes away. And I'm like, okay, we get it, but and she doesn't like Cody, and she doesn't like Brandy because Brandy's making babies. But where are we going? And I feel like Cody is in all these angles. He's been, you know, he was sort of involved in the Sting for a bit, the Sting stuff, and then Snoop Dogg pops in, so we're gonna do a little something with it. Like, it's all very, very nebulous, and nothing is progressing. It's just like, in these regards, I don't know who's in charge of the creative of these specific angles, but it's pretty much, we're treading water. I'm very close to doing the point A to point B to point C comparison. I'm very, very close. I don't want to. So, hopefully it starts to pick up. Hopefully it'll start to pick up. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, DGMC, for the super chat. He says, "Does jumping Jeff Farmer Jesus Christ? Does jumping Jeff Farmer return at Revolution?" Jumping Jeff Farmer, probably better known as NWO Sting. Well, I tweeted, look, yeah. all things point to this being a cinematic match, right? The street fight, because Sting said on the AEW podcast that when he and Tony Khan, when they were in discussions, he was coming back to do cinematic matches. Sting actually said that. So if they're doing a cinematic match and you've got 4 members of Team Taz on one side versus Darby and Sting, I was like, maybe Sting should do something like, maybe the cinematic match would be something like an Into the Spider-Verse kind of thing, but we go into the Stinger verse where Sting goes and gets like NWO Sting and Surfer Sting and Stang, you know, and just and get all these other versions of Sting in with him. But of course they're not going to do that, but it is still funny to think that they do. And you know, and then, I mean, the comparisons are good, right? And then Darby Allin is essentially Miles Morales, right? He's like the new little guy, the new, yeah, you know. Anakin JMD left us a super chat. Thank you very much. Says, Punk on Twitter just called Goldberg the smartest man in the room. Okay. From one guy to another. I know what he means. Oh, yeah. Wrestle 2 times a year, collect a big paycheck because WWE can't build stars, so they need to bring back the old veterans to get some people to get attention. Yeah, he is absolutely the smartest guy in the room. Doesn't make him a good wrestler. Doesn't make him a good person. Just because you're smart doesn't mean you're a good person. Like when I was talking about Undertaker today. I don't want to get into it, but here we go. I was talking about Undertaker today and his comments, which really don't surprise me. You know, considering everything. Doing his documentary in a Thin Blue Line t-shirt. I don't know what people are expecting. And I say, well, garbage comments, and people are like, yeah, but he draws more rating. He drew more ratings back then than anyone can draw ratings today. I'm like, yeah, sure. Still doesn't make him a good person. You can draw ratings and be a jackass. That's not a question of I'm not questioning. I don't equate one's moral fiber to the number of tickets he can sell to an event. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much again, DGMC. Very generous tonight. It says Michael McDonald as the new fake Sting. No! No. Okay, so that was some warm soda. We're gonna talk some cool beans here. Jon Moxley's career is over, folks. Donezo. AEW killing the business, killing its stars. Don't know how to build megastars. Again, Exhibit 2 this week. Last week we had Kenny Omega. This week, Jon Moxley fighting Nick Komoroto. Nick Komoroto. If you don't know Nick Komoroto, that means you don't watch AEW Dark, because he's a bit of a presence there. But he picked a fight with Jon Moxley last night on Dark. Despite the fact that, commentary saying, oh, this young kid is picking his spot. No one wanted to fight Moxley, but he stepped up. This is a big moment for... No, he's like, no, never mind that. I want to make sure that Jon Moxley squashes guys.
Film directed by Andres Muschietti, starring Jessica Chastain, Javier Botet, and Megan Charpentier.
I don't even know what you're talking about. So Moxley actually has to put up a fight. He has to put up a fight against this kid who's tossing him around and beating him down in the corner. And I'm like, what? But Jon Moxley is a former champion. He's a superstar. Why isn't he squishing the guy? Why doesn't he come in and just give him a forearm and then the trouble in paradise? No, the dirty deeds. No, the paradigm shift, the Death Rider. Wasn't he done? Why doesn't he do that? Boom! 5-second squash. Why does the kid put up a fight? We don't know who this Nick Komoroto is. He'll never amount to anything. He's a jabron. We don't know who he is. Moxley's done. Again this week. Kaput. Anakin JMT left us a super chat. Thank you again. He says, again, Angle Cena, 2002, exactly. See, the thing is that, and I'm going to harp this, it doesn't hurt anyone. Okay, I want to say too many things at once. There are different ways of doing things, folks, and I'm going to say it again. WWE, we've been exposed to the WWE way of doing things completely unopposed for over nearly 2 decades. And we've grown accustomed to how they book things and how they treat their wrestlers, their stars, right? So we've grown accustomed to that. But there is other ways to do professional wrestling. So just because maybe WWE would do it this way doesn't mean it's the only way, doesn't necessarily mean it's the most entertaining way, doesn't mean it's the right way either. I am all for trying stuff out. I am completely for doing other things, plus at the same time giving fresh new talent a start, giving them a moment where they can sort of stretch their legs and fly a bit. Nobody knew who Nick Komoroto was before last night, unless you watched Dark. But now that you're not, you know who he is. If you can't remember the name, you'd be like, oh yeah, it's that guy that looks like Bruiser Brody. Exactly. That's how you start creating your future stars. Unlike WWE, who feels that they can just bring someone in, flip a switch, and they'll be over. We know that's not how wrestling works. Here, AEW's strategy is a lot clearer and is a lot more friendly. Start building your stars early, get the audience to know them so that we can cheer for them as they go along. And I don't have a problem with top stars having to fight an entry-level guy, a jabroni, whatever you want to call it, an enhancement talent. I don't mind. Because not every dominating champion has to squash guys in 5 seconds. Not everything has to be a Goldberg extinction level event. You know, even Hulk Hogan, at the peak of his career at the end of the 80s, never squashed his opposition. He didn't. It would always be he'd eat shit for the majority of the match, hulk up, clothesline, big leg drop, that's it. And a more recent example, and probably a little more credible, is Asuka. Asuka, who had the streak. I told you guys about this. It's something to keep in mind. Asuka had the streak. Asuka did not have the streak by having people tap out like that. She had hard-fought, competitive matches with everyone she faced, and her thing was like she wins every match because she can figure out how to beat everyone. And that's a much more compelling story to tell than me coming in, I'm gonna hit my move, I'm gonna hit my other move, yay! I won the match again. Streak is up to 192. Oh boy. It's a much more compelling story to tell. So if Moxley has to fight through this kid, I can dig it. I can dig it. And yet he got the Bulldog choke locked in, and Kamaroto passed out. I don't know what else what more you could want. And squash matches once in a while show. You know who came close to having a squash match? Cody Rhodes against an established talent in AEW, against a guy who is a face, who's been recognized, who's been on TV. Sure, he's been used as a jobber, but if it wasn't for the Jade Cargill, like, they were setting up the match, Cody's match against Peter Avalon, for Cody to just blow through him, but that's not what happened. Because of Jade Cargill. Otherwise, Cody would have just destroyed him. He was about to get a squash match. Does that make Cody a better wrestler? If anything, it makes Cody a dumb wrestler because he got distracted and he almost lost the match. No, I'm kidding. That was a joke. Anyway, there. Anakin JMT left us a super chat. He says, thank you very much. He says, that was a good Alex Pulowski impression. When I was doing this, I don't tell Alex. Please don't. That wasn't an Alex. No, I respect Alex too much to make him come across like that. I really do. Don't tell him. Don't do that. That was fun. NXT. Well, the big news, probably some of the big news that comes out is that came out of NXT this week was signings, new signees. Priscilla Kelly, Elena Black, and Lacey Ryan have all signed with NXT. Here, I'm going to put up the cool beans for this. Sorry about that. So all of these three women, three established, well-known independent wrestlers, are all a member of the NXT roster now. They've all had name changes. All right. Lacey Ryan is now known as Zoe Stark. Elena Black is now known as Cora Jade, who is a former who is a New Republic dropper. Sounds straight out of Star Wars. And Priscilla Kelly is now going to be known as Gigi Dolan. Gigi Dolan. So I'm cool. I like this. Well, just before I get too farther into this, Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Evan. Says Omega and Good Brothers versus Mox, Phoenix, and Pac hose me down. That's going to be fun in a couple of weeks. Yeah, that's a fun main event we got going there. I like it. And back to the ladies here. I cannot be anything but excited, happy for these ladies. I'm really excited for them. I'm happy. Can you imagine like they've managed to get paychecks in the pandemic from a national television show, a national wrestling promotion that has a weekly television show. And of course, there's been all sorts of reactions out there. And maybe, look, I had a chance to talk with a lot of wrestlers over 2020 over on belltobells.com on the YouTube channel. You can see all the interviews that I conducted with some of the women who are on the PWI's top 100 list this year. And whenever I spoke with them, and we always started by talking about COVID, how are you holding up? They all said systematically pretty much the same thing. It's hard. It's difficult. There's no wrestling. There are no shows. We're not out there. We're not making money. We're getting other jobs. It's all around the same thing. 2020, unless you don't actually speak to wrestlers, you don't talk to them, I don't think you understand how difficult it was for independent wrestling this year. Promotions as well. But let's talk about the talent here. I have trouble with anyone whose knee-jerk reaction isn't good for them. I really do. We can talk about the names because the names are fun. They're a little out there. They're a little silly. It's the NXT renaming stuff, It's like Anakin JMT left us in a super chat. Thank you very much. It says, all hail the name Cora Jade, future Jedi Master. Absolutely, right? Aaron Entertainment left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Aaron. I appreciate it. He says, is Zoe part of House Stark from Game of Thrones? Right? Or is she related to Tony Stark? We don't know. These are all the things that we're gonna have to figure out. But the point here is the names are weird. But I'm gonna tell you, I much prefer them moving on and getting a gimmick name in WWE. So if anything ever happens and it doesn't work out and they get let go, they leave, and they head back to the indies, they can go back to the name that people on the indie circuit knew them from. Damian Priest is the same thing. If Damian Priest never walks out of WWE, won't you be excited to hear Punishment Martinez be bellowed across an arena again? It's the same thing. At least they're not trademarking Priscilla Kelly. That would fucking suck. And the other thing here that's important to note, if I see that Priscilla Kelly is going into WWE and she's being called Priscilla Kelly, I have an expectation. I'm thinking I'm going to see Hell's Favorite Harlot, right? That's her gimmick. I'm expecting to see her go there. If she goes in there and does a watered down version of it because PG-13, and she doesn't do the really raunchy shit that she does during her matches, I'm going to be pissed off because I'm going to be like, this is not Priscilla Kelly. She's been corporatized. She's been PG-13'd, At least here, we're trying something else. It'll be something different. We'll see what direction they go with. But it'll be, at least we won't be like, oh, Priscilla Kelly, WWE is trademarking her name. Oh no, she'll never be able to use it again. Or her gimmick sucks now, at least there's some protections there. There's stuff where if it doesn't work out, they can move away. And Christ, they're so young. Elena Black is 19 years old. Priscilla Kelly is what, 23? They don't have to be WWE lifers at this point. They don't have to. We can see there's so many situations that can come out of all of this with the names and so on and so forth. But circling back around here to the money and them making money, when wrestlers don't make a lot of money on the independent circuit per appearance, they really don't. And when I learned about how little they made, I was shocked. I really was shocked. Like I had heard that it wasn't a lot, but then I start, when you chat with promoters and you start understanding how it works it's wild. It really, really is wild how little they get paid. Think of an amount. It's probably less than what you're thinking. And even names aren't paid extraordinarily enormous fees either. Fees, not feeds. Fees. So if you're in a position where you're like, look, I'm a wrestler, this is how I want to make a living, and there's no one putting on shows, and you're not even getting the meager restitution that you do usually get, and the companies have taken notice of you, why wouldn't you jump at the opportunity to do that? What's the alternative? Having 2-3 jobs? A lot of them are doing that right now. At least now they can focus on their craft. At least they can do what they love, what their passion is. I think as fans sometimes we have, and I include myself in this, I'm not perfect, but we have these expectations for wrestlers that we really like, especially independent wrestlers, right? Before they get signed, we have these expectations for them, and we're like, we expect them to stay so true to who they are and never sell out. We have this 1970s nihilist vision, like this onset of punk music type of mindset where like people, the punk movement was like, we're raw, we're real. These bands that get signed, they're sellouts. We're real, we're starving for our art. I don't think there's anything noble in starving, in being a poor starving artist, in not making money because you're doing something that you're passionate about, that hits you in the right spot, where you get creative. I don't think that's a realistic expectation. We love our independent wrestlers because we love the freedom that it gives them, and we love the proximity that we have because they interact a lot with fans, and we get to see them up close. We feel close to them, and then we get worried when they get signed. But none of them are doing this so that they can spend the rest of their life scrounging for money or having a second or a third job to try to make ends meet. They want to make a living out of it. They have to sign to one of the big promotions. And to a degree, I can understand the thought process where they're like, WWE has a poor track record. We don't know what they're going to do with them. They might be misused. They're not going to use them properly, so on and so forth. I get it. But to like outright say, this is the end of these women, what a terrible choice. It's the best choice they could do in the circumstance. Have you been buying merch every week from these women to try and keep the bills paid for them? Have you been doing that? Probably not, because you have your own issues to deal with, and no one expects you to buy merch every week. But if the promotions aren't running shows, they're not doing weekly gigs, if wrestlers aren't on the road doing what they do best, they're not getting paid. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they go accept offers? They got noticed by a company And the company swooped in, picked them up, signed them, and now they're going to have a living wage. Now they'll be able to do what they love. They'll be able to perform on TV. They'll be able to get more experience. Is it the ideal environment? I don't know. Should they have gone to AEW? Hell, 2 out of those 3 women had matches with AEW over the past 18 months to 2 years. Priscilla Kelly was on 3 shows. She wrestled 3 times for AEW. Elena Black twice. Now, I'm not saying that AEW fucked up. I'm not saying that AEW dropped the ball, because we don't know what the negotiations are. We don't. We don't know the level of negotiation that exists. So maybe they were offered stuff and it didn't jive with them, and that I can respect. It's odd to me though, and it's odd to me that AEW, however, has no problems signing men and then being like, yep, signing on the dotted line and bringing guys in. I don't know what they're offering them, but there's a lot more people, a lot more guys accepting jobs from AEW than the opposite. Why does AEW have such a difficult time signing indie famous or indie known wrestlers to their brand? Why does WWE have a little more success at it? Maybe it is just the size of the paycheck. But how much of a disparity is the amount versus a new male signee versus a female signee? Because I wonder about AEW's. You guys know this. I wonder about AEW's commitment to the women's division. And let's talk about that. This will lead us into the Eliminator. Look, Kenny Omega this week, he had an interview with TV Insider, and they asked him about the women's division. Yeah, and he says, this is what he said, and I'm going to read it verbatim. So, quotes. Kenny Omega, I think we are taking baby steps. We have hungry performers who are passionate about getting a chance to do their best. Passion speaks to me more than the performance of a maneuver, and right now our women are really chomping at the bit to get these TV spots. They are all training hard. Our roster keeps getting better. No one has lost their passion. They are still striving for that big goal, which is for the women's division to get more time. I'll have the biggest smile on my face the day we get it. I know we will. So, I know from stuff that I hear, conversations that I've had, Kenny Omega is a huge advocate for women's wrestling, especially in AEW. I know he works hard and he believes in the women, and I sincerely believe that everything he said here was sincere and true. And I know I know he's an advocate for them. That's not even a problem, not even an issue for me. Where I start getting an issue is when I realize that they're working hard, our roster keeps getting better, they're still striving for the big goal, which is to get more time. And he says, I'll have the biggest smile when they get more time. And I'm like, wait, Kenny, you're an executive vice president of this company. You're not like a bottom rung guy where you're like cheering for the girls. You're an executive. So what level of influence do you have or not have in regards to this situation? It compounds the idea that whoever is making these decisions is clearly making them on a voluntary basis. It's not like, oh, well, we don't know what to do with the women. It's more like, no, we're just not giving them enough time. Again, there are decisions being made within AEW to not put a focus on the women's division. Because Kenny is like, when it happens, I'll have a big smile. When he is one of the executives of the company. So where does the change need to happen? At what level? Who doesn't believe in the women's division to not be giving it more time? Because Kenny is like, it's almost as if he's saying, it's out of my hands. That's how I'm interpreting this. It's like, well, I try. Our girls are really good. And it's this attitude that a lot of people have in regards to the women's division. It's like, well, they're gonna get there. It's all choices. These are choices that the company is making. It's not like some force of nature that is conspiring against the women's division. Here, these are choices. They are choosing not to put more women's matches, not put more focus on it, not featuring Shida in top tier matches. These are choices that they are making. Choice that they're making here. Oh, by the way, DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much. He says, if is WWE paying Mercedes more than Top Flight with AEW? I don't know. Can someone confirm if Top Flight has been signed by AEW first and foremost? Because they might have severe concussions after that match yesterday. Holy shit. Here's the thing. Ultimately, I'm talking about, again, AEW not giving time, not giving enough room for their women. But then we get announced that there's a women's world championship eliminator tournament to become the number one contender for the AEW women's world championship. Cool. 16 women. I'm like, what? That's a lot of women. And then there on the graphic you have your brackets, and on one side there's the American flag, and on the other side there's the Japanese flag. So is this going to be like a thing where we're going to be like America versus Japan? Like, how is that? Is that how we're going to do it? Are we flying women in from Japan? Are we going to see the return of Riho? Maybe Yuka Sakazaki? Are we going to see Emi back again as well? Emi Sakura. That'd be great. Because it's 16 women, right? Are we going to see another level of cross promotion with AEW and maybe a promotion overseas where maybe most of the Japanese bracket of the tournament is going to happen overseas, maybe with Emi Sakura's involvement, her promotion. What is it, Gato move? Or Gato move? I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. Or is the relationship with New Japan / Bushido Road good enough to try and get Stardom involved in this as well? Lots of questions at this point. Or is it just going to be, or are we just dreaming here? And that it's not like Japanese wrestlers on one side, American on the other. We're gonna get a mishmash, maybe. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm of course intrigued and excited about this, because anytime, this is the perfect opportunity to make your women's world championship matter. Give it some allure, some prestige, bring it back. All right? It's been playing second fiddle to the NWA title. Now it's time for a full circle kind of event. This is the perfect opportunity to do it. So I'm excited to see where this is going to go. The question that I have is this going to be featured on Dynamite? And I think if it's not featured on Dynamite, anything they do is a misstep again. I hope that they don't create another web show for this, another YouTube show. Remember when they did that for the women's tag team cup? Remember that? And the women were so happy to have their own YouTube show. I'm so sure. Pretty sure that a lot of them would be a lot more excited to be on primetime television. Keeping an open mind until everything is announced and set. But I swear, if the majority of this tournament does not happen on Dynamite, it's a misstep. It's a misstep to create, because here's the thing. There's a good portion, I don't know what they're going to do, but let's say we got 16 women. This is the moment where you put your AEW dark women, the Kylan Kings, the Red Velvets. This is the moment that you put these ladies in the tournament, national TV, prime time, so that we can get to see them more. More like Layla Hirsch, put them on there. But if you make this tournament into a big deal for your viewers on TNT on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it will be a big deal. If you treat it as a second-class thing, it will be perceived as a second-class thing. It's just as basic as that. I really, really hope that they do the right thing here. I really do. Frankly, I'm expecting the opening salvos, the opening rounds to be on dark. That's what I'm expecting. And then have the quarterfinals and moving forward on Dynamite. But this is an opportunity to have your division shine. Put the spotlights on them. Just like Kenny said, they're passionate. They're chomping at the bit. They want more time. Let's put a smile on Kenny's face. Let's give them more time. So we'll see. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much. He says Britt versus Riho as the final is my prediction. You think so? You think they'll go back to Riho? If they do that, hey, look, first of all, I'm excited to see who they're going to throw in here. Because, if they can get, if they can get some exquisite talent, like MacLeod, or let's say, the Stardom stuff works, and we get Momo. My God, we're in for a treat. I mean, this has the possibility to be really, really cool. And guess who it's up to? It's up to AEW to decide whether it's going to be cool or it's going to be another something that we all just shrug and go, well, that's something that happened. We'll see what happens. Hey, we're done with the weekly wrestling inspection. Fantastic stuff, ladies and gentlemen. My God, what a show. I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap things up right here. I want to thank you all for joining me today once again on another Thursday night to come talk about wrestling. Hey, if you want to continue the conversation, you got two choices right now. You can come and join my Patreon, patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. Come and join us. We take live discussions, live calls with the patrons, live chat, discussing all sorts of great stuff. Great stuff. Tonight, we do that every week, and tonight we're talking about cinematic matches and retired wrestlers. That'll be a lot of fun. Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Evan. He says, I want a Maki Ito Lance Archer interaction. Really bad. My God, that would be sinister good. But she'd still be so tiny though, next to Lance, but that would be great. I love it. So we can continue the conversation on there, or come and join the Mr. Warren Hayes Discord. It's always open 24/7. There's always people there ready to talk about wrestling. There we go. Thank you, everyone. I want to thank you again, everyone, for joining me live here tonight. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to listen. If you couldn't join us live here, I really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a wonderful week. Come join me tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. for the SmackDown pre-stream, pre-show. Have a great rest of your evening, folks. See you next time.